Greetings from the German capital and a warm welcome to our highlights edition. And before we get started, it's customary to have a quick look at what's in the pipeline for today's show. Risky business. Two Austrian freeriders in search of ever more challenging terrain. Edgy Veggies. Cookies Cream is one of the first German vegetarian restaurants with a Michelin Star. And Shapely Objects. Italian designer Michele De Lucchi looks back at 4 decades of success. Well, now that winter is really here, winter sports fans are, of course, hitting the slopes. And at most of the European hotspots, it's already high season. But for Matthias Mayr and Matthias Haunholder, even the most difficult slopes don't quite cut it. As free riders, they prefer to ski on virgin snow, far away from the usual well-trodden pistes. And on their perpetual quest for extreme challenges, the two Austrians always have their camera with them so they can share their adventures with the world. And their latest coup is free riding near the South Pole.
They spent weeks all by themselves in the harsh terrain of Antarctica. Freeriders Matthias Haunholder and Matthias Mayr hiked 150 kilometers to this 2,000-meter high peak near the South Pole. No one has ever climbed these mountains before.
I love the challenge of trying new things that one would think are impossible to achieve. That's a great experience that we'll remember for the rest of our lives.
I'm
doing something that most people can't, and I'm doing it my way. It's a lot of fun, and I get to see a lot of far-off places too.
In 2016, Mayr and Haunholder chartered a Russian freighter and traveled to the remote island of Unequatan off Russia's Pacific coast. The Austrian adventurers planned to ski down the slopes of one of 2 volcanoes on the island. Mayr and Haunholder have to cross some ice floes to get to the volcano. It's a lot of work and it wears them out. Only 2 weeks later, there's a break in the weather. Conditions are now ideal for skiing. They make their way to the top of the volcano.
The conditions were extreme the whole time we were there. But it was great to see how well we worked together in a situation like that. We trust each other completely. That's essential when you're working under such difficult conditions.
Haunholder and Mayr have been skiing down the most demanding mountain slopes together for 10 years. Last year, they were at the Pallavicini Glacier on Großglockner, Austria's highest peak. But part of the glacier has thawed away due to global warming, and the adventurers were caught up in a rock slide.
Oh no, not again, I don't believe it. I ended up with some bumps and bruises. My forearm really hurts, but maybe this was just a sign that we shouldn't come back here again.
A safer option might be the Chersky mountain range in northeastern Siberia. The tallest peak in this range is Mount Pobjeda, which means victory. It's said to be impossible to get to. Temperatures in this part of the country can fall to minus 70 degrees Celsius. To get to Mount Pobjeda, you have to make your way across more than 1,300 kilometers of barren Siberian landscape. About 60 kilometers from the mountain, Mayr and Haunholder meet a family of nomads. They provide a few essential pointers on how to make the climb. The Austrian guests are impressed by the family's resilience.
Here they are, out in the middle of nowhere, but they're happy, and they make do with what little they have.
Mayr and Haunholder are the first to make their way down the 50-degree steep, icy slopes of the glacier. They record it all on video, and they have a very good reason for doing that.
It's even more fun for us if we can share our experiences with others. We want our videos to draw attention to the fact that fragile environments like this have got to be protected.
In April, the two Austrians plan to take on the North Pole. And they're planning to make this expedition even more extreme and more challenging.
Every person grows and develops in some way throughout his or her life, and everyone has to find out what they enjoy doing most.
When these two do what they enjoy most, it can be very dangerous. But the most important thing for them is that it's an exciting challenge and fun.
Well, we're nearly 1 year into the Trump presidency, and it's been a tumultuous one, to say the least, one in which we've seen the word tweetocracy creep into discussions on President Trump's unique brand of governance. Well, for Melania Trump, the First Lady at his side, it's also been a difficult one to interpret, as rumors persist that she's unhappy in Washington. As only the second First Lady born outside of the US, the Slovenian-born ex-model was a source of huge pride in her native country at the time of inauguration. So we went to see how Slovenians feel how she embodies the role today.
Whether she's visiting a Paris hospital, the Great Wall of China, or a Beijing zoo, on a state visit to France, or in the role of White House gardener, Melania Trump has her very own style. She's a household name in her native Slovenia, though she hasn't returned to the country in 15 years. Everyone has an opinion about the US First Lady.
I think she's one of the best.
If beauty puts Slovenia map in the world and politics, that's a shame.
I don't see her performing as many administrative tasks as, for example, Michelle Obama was.
I think she's good for Slovenia, but mainly because all press is good press.
She's pretty, as is expected of a First Lady.
Melania Trump is already a style icon for some, and her ubiquitous sky-high heels have even ignited heated public debate. So would she wear this felt slipper? Dubbed the White House slipper, it was designed by Slovenia's Maja Stamur for a shoe factory in Melania Trump's hometown, Sevnica.
Starting back when Donald Trump was campaigning, I wanted to design a high-heeled pump. But the Kopitana shoe factory didn't have the technology to produce that type of shoe. So I opted for the opposite, a comfortable slipper made from natural materials.
The company sent a complimentary pair in Melania's shoe size to the White House.
We didn't expect that she would answer us back or anything. Just we wanted to give her an honor to send a present because we are proud of her that he is from our city. We actually grow up together.
Slovenian tabloids have also profited from Melania's move to the White House. The magazine Suzy was founded in the spring of 2016 when the US election campaign was really taking off.
Her story is one of a Slovenian Cinderella who made it into the White House and is living the American dream. You go from being a nobody to suddenly being the most famous woman in the world. That has had a positive effect for Slovenia, because some people here have low self-esteem. It's great for us.
Stories about Melania are circulation boosters, even if no one has a direct line to the First Lady. Sources are old school friends and their memories of Melania, as well as social media and people from the US fashion scene. But why was a fat salami named First Lady? Like many other regional products, it's part of the First Lady brand based in Mrs. Trump's hometown, Sevnica. The products have yet to sell like hotcakes.
What makes this salami so special is the original recipe and our good climate. Eating it would not only improve your looks, but also boost your performance at work.
One of Siernice's tourist attractions is the town's hilltop castle. Officials say since Melania's rise to international fame, visitor numbers have risen by 30%. The Castle Cafe serves up red wine with the First Lady label. A bottle can be purchased in the gift shop for no less than €27.90. Is it worth it?
Excellent, good bouquet and fine flavour.
Yes. It's really very good.
In the castle, there's a painting by a local artist on display that offers a hopeful vision of bilateral ties.
It has a symbolic meaning, and it means connection of the US to Slovenia through our First Lady.
Slovenians are still waiting for Melania Trump to return to her homeland. Last summer, the Slovenian president invited the Trumps to the country for a visit. According to media sources, they accepted the invitation, though no official date's been set.
The Northern Lights have fascinated human observers since time began, and in the past, the eerie and often psychedelic glow that takes place mostly in high-latitude regions was regarded as mystical or even a sign of imminent disaster. Well, luckily, we know that that's not true, and we're off to take a closer look at the Aurora Borealis, as it's also known, in northern Finland. And we met up with the photographer Markus Kiili, who captures this celestial spectacle, but to do it, he needs a bit of luck, a lot of patience, and a warm pair of winter boots.
The Northern Lights, a natural phenomenon that always casts a spell on people. Photographer Markus Kiili has spent countless nights in the ice-cold Finnish region of Lapland on his quest to capture them on camera.
Northern Lights are so beautiful, and they are so huge and something from the outer space, so that something like they are not from this world.
Markus is famous for his pictures of the Aurora Borealis, and he takes everything that comes with the job in his stride. For hours, he waits under the open sky, even in temperatures of -30 degrees, all for the perfect picture. When he gets the chance, he lights a fire in one of the nearby huts to warm up. But he never stays inside long. He wouldn't want to miss the nocturnal performance. The Northern Lights can dance across the sky for hours or mere minutes. They can only be captured with a long exposure, so he never knows how the photos will turn out.
There is different colors of Northern Lights. The green is more common, then there is also pink or red and violet and blue, but I like the pink. The green is normally not so green as you see in the photos, but the pink is as pink as you see.
The photographer has shot more than 100,000 photos to date. He edits them on his computer and knows just what it takes to do the lights justice.
But one important thing is that there is something in the front. It can be a house or a person or whatever, and something in the middle, and then in the background there is Northern Lights, so that you get the perspective how huge the Northern Lights are. If there is only Northern Lights, you can't think how big they are.
Markus checks every evening to see how good his chances are of seeing the lights. They're visible about 200 times a year. The Northern Lights are created by electrically charged particles released from the sun that collide with particles in the Earth's atmosphere, and they appear stronger the closer you are to the North or South Pole.
Good weather for the Nordic Lights photo is that you have a clear sky, because the Northern Lights, they are about 100 kilometers from the Earth's surface, so the clouds are much lower. If there is clouds, you will not see the Northern Lights.
It must take a special kind of person to spend hours alone in the cold hunting down the lights.
Antisocial, I guess. No, I don't know. You don't need to be a special type. If you get tired very early, then it's not good for you.
But occasionally, even Markus has to rest.
I go out when there is a clear sky and good forecast for Nordic lights. But luckily it's cloudy quite often, so I can sleep on those nights.
And the nightly trips into the freezing weather have paid off. His beautiful images of the Northern Lights amaze people all over the world.
And some exciting news for veggie-conscious foodies, because for the very first time in Germany, 2 vegetarian restaurants have been awarded a Michelin Star. Well, one of them is Cookies Cream, right here in Berlin. And for anyone who might be wondering how vegetables can be so impressive, well, critics agree that this place is all about the whole. A stunning interior with unorthodox, flavorful creations that prove Chef Stefan Henschel's philosophy of no veggie clichés is working.
Beetroot on vegan gnocchi with crispy olive crumble. Grilled leek with horseradish and black sesame seed. These vegetarian dishes were created by Stefan Henschel, head chef at the Berlin restaurant Cookies Cream since 2007. The restaurant's just been awarded a Michelin star.
For us, it felt great because we hadn't been expecting it. We hadn't been working towards this for 10 years. We are who we are. We try to be authentic. We cook with love and good ingredients. This is a great honor, not just for me, but for the entire team.
Stefan Henschel prepares his vegetarian dishes with a team of 6. And he does it without resorting to classic meat substitutes like tofu or seitan. Vegetables, herbs and lettuce are all he needs for his edible creations. And Stefan Henschel himself isn't even a vegetarian.
It doesn't bother me to limit my cooking to vegetables because I think vegetarian cuisine's more multifaceted and colourful. It has more going on. There are so many different possibilities. Herbs, just the colours of beets, for example. Red, yellow, albino.
He takes a break on the restaurant's roof. Stefan grew up in the eastern German state of Saxony. There he trained as a chef in North Rhine-Westphalia in western Germany. In 2001, he moved to Berlin and learned to cook gourmet quality in the 2-star restaurant Facile, among others. Then he started at Cookies Cream. Peter Janot delivers the herbs and vegetables for the restaurant weekly straight from his own fields. The Brandenburg farmer specializes in rare vegetables, such as Malabar spinach or Paris market carrots. They're known to be especially flavorful. He's been working with Stefan Henschel for many years.
The nice thing about Peter's produce is that it's about taste, colour and shape. You can see that in the vegetables the kitchen prepares so well for me. They're perfect.
When preparing his vegetable creations, the chef can even draw upon his years of experience making meat dishes. After salting the beets, he wraps them in tin foil and bakes them in the oven for 35 minutes at 160 degrees Celsius.
That preserves the complete flavour. It's like when you braise a roast, you don't boil out the flavour. The pure taste has to remain in the vegetable.
The vegetarian cuisine is more complex than meat dishes because every individual vegetable has to go through several stages of preparation to ensure it'll turn out especially tasty. But the great challenge for vegetarian cuisine is in the restaurant.
80% of our guests eat meat and we have to satisfy them as well. Our dishes aren't necessarily light just because they're vegetarian. They can be very rich.
Cookies Cream is one of the trendiest restaurants in downtown Berlin. Its patrons have included American actor Tom Hanks and celebrity chef Jamie Oliver. As is often the case with the city's inn spots, the entrance is in a courtyard. It serves about 120 guests daily.
The tasting was really vibrant, colourful. Everything tasted quite unique.
You can certainly do without the meat. And we really enjoy it here.
The Cookies Cream kitchen even experiments with vegetables in desserts. This is blueberry sherbet with celery.
Our aim is definitely to carry on the way that we are, but at the same time to keep developing what we've achieved so far and keep growing together as a team.
For Stefan Henschel and his vegetarian dishes, a second Michelin star may be on the horizon.
And we finish with a man who has made design history. Michele de Lucchi is one of the founders of the rebellious Memphis group. That's a radical Italian design movement from the early 1980s. Well, from there, the Milan-based designer and architect went on to create a slew of household objects, furniture, and even buildings that won him countless awards. And we visited this iconic designer at work.
Michele de Lucchi and his iconic lamp, Tolomeo. The Milanese designer and architect created this classic in 1987. It's been a bestseller ever since. Since the late 1970s, De Lucchi has designed many objects, including lamps, chairs, tables, and household appliances. But the Tolomeo was his one iconic piece.
The designer or architect cannot determine whether a design becomes an icon or not. That depends on other things.
Like the zeitgeist. In the 1980s, De Lucchi co-founded the rebellious Milan-based design group Memphis. Some of his Memphis designs are still on display in his office.
We wanted to create something new, with new shapes and new colors. Most importantly, we wanted to provoke people with the decor and with ironic shapes. We wanted to create a more diverse aesthetic. That was the goal of Memphis.
In this Milan palazzo, De Lucchi works with his team on various international projects. His Palace of Justice in Batumi, Georgia, was finished in 2011. He wants his buildings to have symbolic significance. The Bridge of Peace in the capital, Tbilisi, became an emblem for the new Georgia. De Lucchi designed the entrance pavilion for the 2015 Milan World's Fair, featuring wood and organic shapes. Eye-catching, but not too showy. That's also his principle for Milan's latest temple of culture, the Unicredit Pavilion, which he designed in the shape of a seed.
I really like the idea of placing a wooden seed into this surrounding of glass, steel, and concrete. It shows that fertility is an essential part of nature. Building for community living, a meeting place, that could be the seed for a better future.
De Lucchi draws his designs by hand. He's fascinated by the sense of touch and makes objects out of wood in his free time. These designs have already become works of art. At this exhibition in a gallery in Milan, the maestro's handmade pieces sell for 12,000 euros each.
These are basically models, because I'm an architect. But some view them as sculptures, detached from their function, and that's fine by me.
Recently, De Lucchi has enjoyed success as an interior designer. He designed a fast food restaurant on the Piazza del Duomo in Milan. The golden olive tree symbolizes a connection to nature. De Lucchi's converted gas station was opened in the fall of 2017. Garage Italia represents the Italian automobile culture. The first floor houses a gourmet restaurant, and the ground floor is a spacious espresso bar. It quickly became one of the hottest meeting spots in the area.
I can't design anything unless I can think up a story that gives the building a meaningful purpose. It would hurt me if the people who use my buildings or live in them saw them as a nuisance or an annoyance.
Michele De Lucchi's current best-selling design is the espresso maker, La Pulcina. It's certainly striking, and coffee connoisseurs like it too. Bellissimo!
that's all for this edition of our highlights, but don't forget you can always find more behind-the-scenes Euromaxx on our website. So for now, thanks for watching, and until we meet again, all the best from Berlin, and tschüss.